It's 3 years since this country made New Zealand Sign Language its newest official language, and it's the third time that the deaf community have gathered to celebrate their language getting that status, sitting alongside Te Reo Māori and English. Kia ora koutou, welcome to the program. I'm Markku Gourley, here at the official launch of New Zealand Sign Language Week. And to mark the occasion, we're relaying the program in both visual and audio formats, thanks to our website team. First up, we have the World Federation of the Deaf President, Markku Jokinen, and we're in a little interesting operation here of trilingual interpretation, going from New Zealand to American Sign, from English back to English. So welcome to the country, Markku, and welcome to the program. Now, New Zealand, I understand, is unique in that it's the only country which has made sign language an official language. What advantage is there in that?
All right, that is a good question. Thank you for asking me that. Many countries around the world have officially recognised a signed language. Perhaps at constitutional level, there are a number of countries that have done that, but New Zealand is the only country which has termed it differently and made New Zealand Sign Language an official language, which makes it equal in status with Māori and English. And that's quite unique. Other countries have not achieved that. So that really means a lot on the part of your government. And there will be a lot of implications that may flow from that. It means it's equally expressed as an official language. And I have talked with the New Zealand Association of the Deaf, the president and the coordinators, and discussed this. And we think that perhaps the government has not fully appreciated the implications of this, of making it an official language, because that is a very high status to give a language. It may imply things like support for New Zealand Sign Language research, services, teaching of sign language to parents of deaf children. There are a whole raft of areas where it may be applied. So that's a very unique achievement for New Zealand.
That's what I was thinking, that you may have the language as an official language, but in some other countries you might actually get better resources going into sign language, even though it's not an official language. So the comparison would be, yes, it's official, but maybe those implications aren't realised and therefore the language is not sustained.
Okay, yes, in terms of funding and resources, I think that is an issue, but it's also to do with awareness and attitude, and being willingness to take action to make that official language meaningful. So it's not just a question of resources and funding. So making it an official language in New Zealand, it's very important to think through what are the flow-on implications from that. For example, research. We need linguistic research on sign languages. Do we have that? And do we need further work in that area to make it more of an academic language? And do we need more funding to produce DVDs and that sort of dictionaries? Do we need to give perhaps more support to the language in schools and to be able to use New Zealand Sign Language as a mother tongue? Perhaps there is a need for more teachers to go to university and study the language, to be able to teach in it as a first language for children, or perhaps to make adaptations to existing school programs. And so that it's not simply a matter of funding, it's also a matter of actions and strategies.
How fundamental is it that sign language is recognised as the first language of deaf people to achieve human rights, in your view?
Very, very important. We have a policy that says for deaf people to achieve human rights, this will in fact improve all human rights. To achieve language rights will improve human rights. it affects the ability to access education in our language, information in our own language. Without those things, we cannot achieve other basic human rights. It's impossible. So language rights are very fundamental to all of our human rights.
Because, of course, also we have the report, the global report on deaf people and human rights around the world. What are the main barriers that report identifies to human rights happening for deaf people?
One very significant barrier internationally around the globe is particularly in developing countries. There are many issues there where there are children, for example, who never have access to any form of education. Maybe 90% of children in developing countries don't access education. They can't attend a school. So that's one huge issue. We can say that, I would say within the last 20 years, there has been development. There has been a lot of development of interpreting services, and that's been very positive to see, and that's continuing. But there are still questions around who pays for interpreting services, and not all governments are willing to fund that. In some countries, associations pay, or deaf individuals have to support that. So there's still a lot of development in that area needed. A third area would be the need for more awareness amongst the hearing public, just about the barriers that deaf people face in life and just achieving basic rights. So there are many problems around that to do with lack of awareness, and deaf people in many places are still very disadvantaged, and there's a real need to work on just a lot of basic issues like that.
Thank you very much. Now, I understand you've got quite an important function to attend at Parliament, question time or something like that, so...
Fine. Thank you very much for inviting me to be on your program and for the interview, and good luck with your work.
Thank you. That's World Federation of the Deaf President, Markku Jokinen. I have to get my Finnish perfected a bit. Okay. So we're going to do a bit of reshuffling of interpreters.
Oh, I'd just like to I
Before
have a
that,
name
though,
sign, which is much shorter in sign language, Markku.
Markku, thank you.